This time on episode 218 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we talk Thor Ragnarok, we talk weekly Marvel news, and we talk your feedback.
Hi, I'm Nikki from Tyrion's Landing, a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Lauren.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This show is recorded on Thursday, November 16th, 2017, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast galactic-wide via www.geeks.live. Ladies, happy National Button Day!
Yay?
I was thinking, I don't think I wear many clothes with buttons, and then I remember jeans. Jeans have buttons. So
There you
that's
go.
a thing.
I wear button-down shirts with buttons, all the time, but they're not fancy. They're just the normal buttons. But I guess a lot of people collect buttons, so I guess. This holiday's been going on for quite some time. I think 1936.
Yeah. I mean, people collect all sorts of things. I used to collect movie tickets, and then I lost most of them and then just kind of stopped.
Haley, no collection of buttons?
Nope, can't say that I do.
Well, if you collect buttons, you can go ahead and get a hold of us and send us a picture of your button collection. In the meantime, we're going to get on with the rest of the show. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Defenders on Netflix, Legion on FX, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like Thor Ragnarok, and the Marvel Comic Universe in general.
Because of Snake Loki.
If you would like to talk to us about Snakey, that wasn't very good. You can check out our website, legendsofshield.com.
If you'd like to leave us a voicemail message about being 8 years old and stabbing your brother in the back, go ahead and call us at 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871.
That just reminded me of something my sister did once.
Did she stab you in the eye at 8 years old?
No, but she threw a cat at me.
My brother threw a brick at me.
That explains a great many things.
If you would like to talk to us about your sibling rivalries, you can get a hold of us at Facebook at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
Or you can find us on Twitter, where we're at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
If you'd like to leave us a YouTube message about your sibling elevator rides, you can catch us at youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
All right, we've waited long enough, and here we go. We're going to talk some Thor Ragnarok. All right, Lauren, Thor Ragnarok. What's with the title?
Well, Ragnarok is an event from Norse mythology. It is the fall of the Norse gods. Unlike a lot of, in a lot of pantheons, gods, live and die and stuff. Look at Egypt mythology. Their whole thing a lot of it started because Osiris was murdered and hacked into pieces and thrown in the Nile. That's a thing you know now if you didn't before. Also, the Nile is supposed to be like his sperm, and that's why the valley there is so fertile.
Gross.
That's another thing you know now. But Ragnarok is the end of all the Norse gods. Like the whole thing with Fenrir, the wolf being chained at the bottom of the world tree, and all the gods killing each other, and it was all kicked off, if I remember right, because of Loki tricking the blind god Hodor to or Hode, depending on, because everything's spelled differently, because Norse mythology is a whole bunch of different groups of people, so it all varies by language. But tricking the blind god Hodor to throw a mistletoe branch or sprig at Baldur, who is the most beautiful of the gods, and all the plants had sworn that they would, everything had sworn they wouldn't hurt him, except for mistletoe. And so mistletoe killed him. And it just set off this chain reaction, and then all the gods died. Okay. And that is what Ragnarok is, the death of the Norse gods.
Okay, I've learned
mythology
two things.
Is cool.
Yes.
I've learned two things here. First of all, I'm not hanging up mistletoe at all. That's going to be bad juju right now. And two, Lauren does indeed watch too much QI on the BBC. I
read that when I was like 8 years old. I still am really into reading mythology. And actually, there's a podcast. If you really, really, really want to know about Norse mythology, and if like Thor, they're about to do a Thor episode, and they watch the show Vikings and talk about it too. It's called Saga Thing.
Saga Thing?
Well, yeah, Saga Thing. It's because in Norse cultures, the thing or the all thing was the name of the gathering where everyone would get together and just kind of set up, rules and who's marrying who. And it was like the big government meeting. And it's still actually Iceland's parliament, I believe, is still called the Thing. Yeah. So Saga Thing, look it up. Very interesting and a very good look at Norse sagas and mythology.
I'm curious, are you into mythology because of Hercules and Xena as well?
No, I actually used to get really mad at Hercules and Xena because they got so much of it wrong, but I still loved them.
Yes.
So I was the jerk who was screaming at Hercules and Xena and everything because they got so much wrong.
When do you not scream when you watch something?
Rarely.
Oh.
I'm usually screaming either in excitement or anger.
Good to note.
It's a very intense experience watching TV with me.
You should sell tickets.
I should. Patreon goal: live watch a show with Lauren.
We could do that.
I would pay for that.
All right, that is what Thor Ragnarok means and how it applies to Thor. We're going to move on with the creative team behind this amazing movie. Haley, who directed Thor Ragnarok?
This one was directed by Taika Waititi, who we have been talking about a lot in the weeks leading up to this. He's the third director in the franchise. He has directing credits. First of all, he has acting credits too, but he has 16 directing credits starting in 2002. He did some shorts under the name Taika Cohen. Then he did a bunch of episodes of Flight of the Conchords. He did episodes of Super City, The In-Betweeners, What Do We Do in the Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People, and then Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, there's some other movies here. Okay, Eagle versus Shark is a movie that he did with Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords.
Was that on Sci-Fi?
No, actually. I think it might still be on Netflix right now.
Okay.
He also did one called Boy. A lot of his stuff is very New Zealand and Maori centered because he is Maori. He's actually the first person of color to direct a Marvel movie. And like we've mentioned before, he did What We Do in the Shadows, which is about vampires living in New Zealand. It is possibly my favorite vampire movie ever. And it's funny, it's amazing. We watched it like the day before we went to go see it. It's such a good movie.
You watched the movie the day before you went to see the movie?
Okay, let me correct that. We watched What We Do in the Shadows on Halloween. And then on that Friday when Thor Ragnarok came out, we went to go see it. So technically that's 2 days before.
Tuesday to Friday, yeah.
They make, honestly, a really good double feature.
Good to know. Good to know. I've enjoyed his directing style, so way to go. I can't wait to see more of his stuff. So, Lauren, we had a bunch of people that were behind the story and production. So why don't you start us off?
Okay, so we have a lot of story by, based on the Marvel Comics by. Let's start with the based on the Marvel Comics by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby. Stan Lee and Larry Lieber. Well, Stan Lee, we all know. He's in the movie. Come on. Jack Kirby created a lot of the characters. It's kind of only recently he started getting the credit that he deserves. And I believe this year is the anniversary of his 100th birthday. He's been dead for several years now, but he really does deserve a lot of credit. And Larry Lieber is Stan Lee's brother. The story by, we have Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost, who are comic writers, and they've done a lot of work with Marvel, both in the comics world and in the movie world. And actually, I follow Christopher Yost on Twitter, and he mentioned that right after the movie came out, he teased, you should see a bunch of the really weird ideas that we pitched for the movie that never made it on screen. Now I'm like, you can't just drop that and not, you know.
It might be covered under NDA for that, though.
Yeah. Eric Pearson, who also is under story by, has also done a lot of the Marvel one-shots. He did The Consultant, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Thor's Hammer, Item 47, Agent Carter, wrote a lot of episodes of Agent Carter. He was executive story editor and is credited with Thor Ragnarok as well. And actual screenplay is also by Eric Pearson. And we also know, according to Taika Waititi and several of the cast members, that at least 80% of this movie was improvised. So there's that.
They did a great job improvising then. It was pretty cool. And you know what else was cool? I enjoyed the soundtrack behind there. Of course, there was the name brand songs by Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. But the rest of the
Never heard of him.
Yeah. I barely have. So the rest of the music was done by Mark Mothersbaugh, who has 193 composer credits starting in 1976.
He's freaking Devo.
Which include 15 episodes of Pee-wee's Playhouse, 7 episodes of Sliders, the Happy Gilmore 1996 movie, 23 episodes of Dawson's Creek, the Royal Tenenbaums 2001 movie, 12 episodes of The Big Love, and of course, Haley's favorite, Pitch Perfect 2 from 2015.
My favorite too. He also did, he seriously, just go to his IMDb page and look at it. He's done a whole lot. I always remember him from when I was a kid, and he did the soundtrack for Rugrats, the TV show.
Yeah, he's done a lot of kids shows. He's done a lot of adult stuff too.
And he's Devo. Like, he's one of the main dudes in Devo.
Right. So there's just a ton of creative energy around this guy, and we're just fortunate enough to have him. I really enjoyed. I went back to listen to the soundtrack, and I was like, man, this guy has some talent to him. So thank you very much, Mark, for bringing your talent to Thor Ragnarok. So we're going to run down some of the main cast just so we all get a reference of who was in this movie. We're going to start with Lauren. Go ahead.
Chris Hemsworth is Thor. Who? I don't know, some guy.
Just this guy. Another nobody, Tom Hiddleston as Loki.
And another nobody, Kate Blanchett as Hela.
Look goals, life goals. We also have, speaking of life goals, Idris Elba as Heimdall.
Also known as Not Sexiest Man Alive.
Sadly.
Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster.
Speaking of sexy. Also speaking of sexy.
Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, who did a great job.
Carl Urban as Scourge.
Who was delightful in this.
Yes.
Always great, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner / the Hulk.
We got Anthony Hopkins one more time as Odin.
One last time.
We got Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange.
And among his many roles, Taika Waititi as the voice of Korg.
Rock Dude, which rocks fell off of. Then we also had the delightful Rachel House as Topaz. And if you don't know who Topaz was in the movie, she was the one with the death stick on the game's master planet.
And if you don't know who Rachel House is, she's the grandma from Moana. We had Clancy Brown as the voice of Surtur.
Tadanobu Asano as Hogan.
Ray Stevenson reprised his role as Volstagg.
Zachary Levi, briefly, reprised his role as Fandral.
The least of the Hemsworths, but still great, Luke Hemsworth as actor Thor.
Sam Neill as actor Odin.
Charlotte Nikado as actor Sif.
The only Sif appearing in this film.
Ugh.
And Stan Lee as the uncredited barber.
Please, sir, don't cut my hair. And of course, we talked about it before in a previous podcast, Matt Damon as actor Loki.
Matt Damon.
Still shocked. Like, sitting in the theater, I'm like, that looks like Matt Damon. But there's absolutely no way that that is Matt Damon.
If you, by chance, listen to the 15 minutes of outtakes from, our second to last episode? That's been released as of this moment. It was one of our last Inhumans episodes, I think. But all the cussing that I did was focused around being shocked to realize that Matt Damon was in this.
Yeah, 15 minutes of cuss words. That's Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 215. Go check it out. It's the last 15 episodes of the whole podcast. If you don't stick around for the end after the credits, by the way, usually I put in outtakes, so enjoy them, especially that one. It was great. So now that we've gone through the creative team, we've gone through most of the actors, we know who they are. Now we're going to get into the highlights, and we've already touched upon it with Matt Damon and all the other actors like Sam Neill. We had Loki's play, and this was great. You could just tell Anthony Hopkins was having fun trying to play Loki. You had the actors that were just having fun trying to play each other, and just the whole absurdity about the play itself. It was great, and Thor rocked it in, and he was like, okay, brother, gigs up, where's dad?
You guys, I was dying.
And then Scourge coming in as well after everything, announcing Thor is here.
Scourge using the Rainbow Bridge to just steal stuff was amazing. And we get Chekhov's guns.
Yep.
Chekhov's AK-47s.
Literally.
And to all the people wondering, like, why are there so many rounds? Dude, magic. That's how.
It's a movie. Guns work like that in movies.
No,
they work
that way in Asgard.
Okay, true. But I was gonna say, the only time you need to reload is in a movie like John Wick, where every now and then he needs to throw a gun at someone.
Or, speaking of not the sexiest man alive, in the Dark Tower, when you're gonna do it really cool.
Oh my. Speaking of I'm sorry, I'm thinking of that scene, and for all the flaws in that movie, Idris Elba as Roland Deschain, just gimme. So good. Okay.
So let's get back to Scourge a little bit, talking about Yummy. Carl Urban, of course. And I was a little tired.
Not his yummiest look.
I was like, who is that? I know who that is. And it literally took me like 30 seconds. I was like, yeah, it's Carl Urban. I can't believe that. So
I love the memes that have pointed out. There's two memes that I absolutely love, and I know I've posted one of them on the Facebook page. There's the one, it's like freshman year, and it's Kate Blanchett as Galadriel and Carl Urban as Éomer. And then senior year, and it's them as Scourge and Hela. And the other one is when Middle Earth elves go bad, they go Marvel villains bad. Because we've seen 3 elves. We've seen Thranduil, Lee Pace as Thranduil, is now Ronan the Accuser. Elrond, Hugo Weaving. I keep thinking of it. I was like, Elrond, Agent Smith? No, that's not his real name. Is also Red Skull. And now Kate Blanchett is Hela. So.
And they're rebooting back to The Hobbit and stuff. So, hey.
I'm actually really excited about the Amazon thing because they said prequels, which means, oh my God, are we getting the Silmarillion? You guys, are we getting the Silmarillion? My tattoo is from the Silmarillion, you guys. Back to Thor.
No. Back to the Silmarillion.
Okay.
As a movie or as a miniseries?
It's going to be on Amazon. They want to do like several seasons of like Lord of the Rings, but I'm like, just give me the Silmarillion, you guys. Just give me the Silmarillion.
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings is perfect. Just give me the Silmarillion.
We've got a great Lord of the Rings series we can go back and rewatch anytime we want. If they wanted to do a special edition where they like touched up some of the effects, that would be fine with me. But yeah, like next thing, Silmarillion, let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Just give me just like 3 series, like 3 separate stories from the Silmarillion. There's so much you can do with the Silmarillion, you guys.
So
all right,
dense.
I hate to bring this party down, but there's a couple of downer things that we got to talk about. First of all, Odin dies.
Odin does stuff. I love when they're like, okay, we're going to go find the real Odin. And it turns out that Loki dropped him off in front of a nursing home.
That was being destroyed.
I left him right here.
Right here. Of course, that ends up with hilarity for a couple of minutes after that. So that's
because
good.
that's when we meet Doctor Strange. We have basically the stinger scene from the Doctor Strange movie with them having beer, but then all the stuff with Doctor Strange flipping around, transporting him, and Thor just getting knocked around.
Speaking of Thor comedy gold, how about when he's talking to Surtur and he's hanging on the chain?
Yes,
coming back around.
Seriously,
just let him.
So many good comedy points, which is good because there's some really dark stuff in there too.
So the exposition,
like again, Odin dies.
Yeah. So the exposition, going back to Surtur really quick, at the beginning was really funny. And you're thinking, oh, Thor's just talking to the audience here. No, he's talking to the skeleton just for something to do. And it was really nice exposition. I really enjoyed that. Okay, so Odin dies. They go to Earth and they find out here. And here's the second bad thing: Jane dumped Thor, and the real bad part. Yeah, the real dump or bad part about this isn't necessarily Jane. It's what Jane would come with.
Darcy.
So we're not going to get Darcy anymore.
I think they just recast the role with Keira Knightley. No one will notice.
It's worked before.
And we just roll with it.
It could happen.
No, that I can understand not wanting. I mean, you don't want to overstuff a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand that, but just
not bringing back any of your female characters.
Yeah, that made me less than happy.
I can't believe they did not even name check Sif. Like, right? Where is she? What's going on with her?
Yeah. And I understand, Jamie Alexander's got the lead role on Blind Spot. She's got a really
she might have been busy
going there. But not even name dropping her? Come on, guys.
Like you say, oh yeah, Sif's not here because she's off doing this thing on this other place. So that's why she's not in this movie, but she's not dead.
Sif and Jane are off having an adventure. I mean,
could be.
This is one of those lazy writer things, just writing out a character just because that's been bugging me lately.
And talking about and writing off characters, the Warriors 3, at least one of them had some action. The other 2 went down without a word, without even moving. I mean,
I will say that I feel like this is payback for Thor 2 when they just threw out Hogan the Grim, like, with nothing. He's just like, oh, I'm going to stay here with the Vanir. My people need me. And they just leave him. Whereas here, the other 2 die without a word. And he's the one that gets the really awesome dramatic speech. Which, by the way, I'm glad they did because Tadanobu Asano is an amazing actor. Go, if like crime drama, like gory crime dramas are your thing, watch him in Ichi the Killer. If historical epics are your thing, watch him in, I'm blanking out on the name of the movie where he plays Genghis Khan, but he's really good in that. So I was so excited back when they originally cast him in the role, and then they haven't really given him much to work with.
Really, none of the Warriors 3 gets to do very much. But yeah, he's probably the least served of all of them.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the fact that Zachary Levi might as well have just been CGI'd in there. So no words at all, no dialogue, just an arrow to the chest and he's down.
Yeah. Mongol is the name of the movie where he plays Genghis Khan. Okay. Very good in it.
Okay, so we got to get back to Doctor Strange because, guys, I've been falling for half an hour. It's
I
great
really loved Doctor Strange just kind of screwing with them.
It's great that Stephen Strange was really keeping an eye on Loki. I mean, if there's anybody that needed to keep an eye on Loki, I'm glad Stephen Strange was keeping an eye on Loki. And Loki doesn't have any time to react. He's like, oh, you think you're a big wizard? Well, we're just going to take care of this. And he just, boof, off to Norway you go.
Yeah, and which, again, there's some really good, around all the humor, there's some really good drama, some really good poignant moments, like the whole, this would be a good place for our people moment with Odin right before he dies. The whole trying to reconcile Thor and Loki. Because, yeah, he's like, you're my sons, and, you know, no matter what happens, I loved you both.
And the whole Norway thing was, it's just kind of surreal to me, because I've been watching Vikings too, right? So I'm like, this is totally where these people belong. And yeah, I get it. It's Norse mythology, but just Vikings is just driving it home to me. And I'm like, yeah, they're going to come here. And at the end of the movie, that's kind of where they're headed, but they get a little sidetracked. We'll get back to that later. Also, when they're in Norway, not only do they lose Odin, but they lose Meow Meow.
Yeah, so Hela comes back after Odin's dead because his power was the only thing locking her away. Good job. Loki.
Also,
good job.
Way to be a crappy dad, Odin.
Odin is a terrible dad. Have we discussed this before?
I feel like we have, but it bears discussing again.
Yeah. He's not the best dad. He's like, maybe not like the worst dad of the year.
I don't know. All of his kids kind of grew up to be total a-holes.
That's true. That's true. Thor, at least, I mean, grew up some. Loki never really grew out of it.
He had to be banished to Earth for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, Loki was adopted.
I love that even he points that out in this. But, and then we get Hela, who I think we talked a little bit on the last show. There's a really good article about how Hela, a lot of this movie is pointing out the whole sort of imperialist culture of Asgard, and Hela is very indicative of that. And once it was no longer kind of Odin's favor, or once he kind of lost that whim to be a conqueror and he wanted to be seen as a good ruler, and once, you know, her ambition outstripped his, he locked her away.
Yeah, but she killed a lot of Valkyrie before she did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a really cool scene, though.
Yeah.
Like, that scene looked like a painting. It was, apparently it used some, like, new special camera.
So it
was awesome.
I was thinking about that scene. It was an awesome scene, but what did it really give us? So Loki was going back into her mind just to give us exposition, but I feel like it's something that Loki's going to use in the future against Valkyrie that he really didn't use against her in this movie.
I don't know. Maybe. I feel like
we kind of played out Loki as the villain at this point.
Yeah, I really loved, somebody on Tumblr pointed out, you know, I love how once Loki takes control of Asgard, his whole thing is implementing a non-interventionist political policy or military policy and funding the arts.
See, the rule was a mess and he just needed to rule it. And once he did, everything was fine.
Except for everything wasn't fine. It was falling apart all around him. And eventually...
Yeah, but that wasn't his fault.
It was totally his fault because he was ignoring the calamity going around him in the different realms.
Asgard first. Make Asgard great again.
All right. So while Loki foolishly hit the return button to go back to Asgard, they both get flown off into this, we don't know where, but Thor ends up on this planet that's a junk planet, and he gets captured, and he gets a Star Wars droid restraining bolt thrown on him.
And the Star-Lord drinking game works for this movie. Anytime he's twitching on the floor, take a drink.
Yeah, there was such a good Guardians of the Galaxy connection here because we get the look of, you know, Trash Planet. There's a mention later on of, I'm blanking out, but it's one of the planets that they mention in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, I think. And just aesthetically. Oh, and then the Grandmaster, we can pretty much assume, is a Celestial.
Oh, because he's been around for millions of years.
Yeah. Except instead of constructing his identity around deciding he has to rule all the worlds, like Star-Lord's jerk dad, he just decided, I'm going to rule this one and make it into a party place for me. He's basically an eternal toddler in the body of Jeff Goldblum in flip-flops on a Segway.
That's pretty much Jeff Goldblum.
Basically, he's playing himself. It's fantastic. Jeff Goldblum did such a good job in this movie.
He did, especially with his melt stick. Somebody explain to me what the melt stick was, because it wasn't really explained other than it was literally a melt stick.
Well, you poke them and they melt.
Yeah.
That's it.
It doesn't need much more explanation than that.
I see. You know what else doesn't need a lot of explanation? Stan Lee's cameo. That was just fun. I don't even know when they filmed it. It was just fun.
I know they said they filmed a whole bunch at once, so I'm guessing sometime around there. But yeah, he shows up and he has like knife hands. He's Edward Scissorhands.
Please, sir, don't cut my hair. I don't want to cut. Don't do it.
I love, he just starts out just very tough and then, oh God, they're not joking. Don't cut my hair.
Was that like a Gladiator reference or?
I got kind of a Samson vibe from it.
Ditto. Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised they weren't playing Buckley over that.
Oh, that would be all we need. Sad Alleluia playing while you see Thor crying. The hair is just falling in slow motion.
Somebody make a fan video right now.
Another great thing.
Clutching it. Why can't I hold all this hair?
You know, I kind of wish they didn't show the scene in all the trailers. You know, it was like from the first teaser, they show, oh, look, I know him from work. I think it would have been great seeing it for the first time in the theater. Of course, I didn't.
You know what was great that we didn't see before was Loki's reactions to seeing him again.
Yes, that's how it feels.
Huge fan of the sport.
This movie is so quotable.
And Jeff Goldblum's reaction to Loki's reaction, that kind of made it as well. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we have Valkyrie just like, because she's the one who captured, well, she's not the one who captures Thor. She's the one who shoots out all the people who do capture Thor and takes him to sell to the Grandmaster. And Loki, in the meantime, because it's time works weird there, they explain. So he's been there for about 2 weeks. And in that time, the Grandmaster's basically become a sugar daddy.
I just hate to think of what Loki had to do to get that sugar daddy.
I've seen some good fan comics. It's like, you know, are you a food or fighter? Like, well, what's option 3? I don't know, boy toy? Yes.
So Valkyrie's just awesome the whole time, acting like an Asgardian before you really know. I mean, if you don't know anything, if you're going in here not knowing anything about Asgard or the Marvel comics or anything like that, you're like, man, she is just swigging that alcohol and she's got this cool fighter ship. I mean, she's just cool. And then you learn she's a Valkyrie.
Yeah, at first you don't even find out that she's a Valkyrie because they just call her like number whatever.
Scrapper 142.
Scrapper, yeah. And then you see the tattoo on her arm, and Thor's like, oh, she's Asgardian, she's a Valkyrie. They're all dead. And again, because time works weird here, she's presumably been here a very, very long time because she fought against Hela. Thor doesn't remember Hela.
Well,
No.
Thor was presumably born after Hela was banished.
Yeah.
Also, is Frigga supposed to be Hela's mother?
I don't know, because in actual Norse mythology, Loki is Hela's father.
Right, well, because Odin and Loki are brothers. And
actually in the comics, I think Loki's Hela's father too.
Way to go, Marvel. Screwing up kids' mythology for decades to come.
It makes me less angry than it did when I was tiny.
You've grown, matured.
I've grown. I've been able to look at it as fan fiction.
Hey guys, I got a question for you. I'm looking around here. I don't think I have enough pamphlets. You guys have any extra pamphlets?
I don't think I have enough pamphlets, and I know whose fault that is.
Gotta hit him hard and fast with a leaflet campaign.
Korg was great. It was just good. I kind of imagine like Simon Pegg as Korg, but I'm just glad it was done the way it was. It was just flat out funny.
Taika Waititi has stated that he based Korg on like Polynesian bouncers that he's met, like, huge guys. And they're just like really, hey, soft-spoken, friendly.
Well, quite the opposite of outspoken and friendly is the fact that Thor's without his hammer. He's had some hammer love, and
he doesn't have the hammer. He doesn't have his hair. His cape gets torn. So he has like half a cape going on.
Good look.
It is.
And then
why don't we all wear capes again?
We find out there's a couple more things that happen to Thor. First of all, he gets his thunder/lightning. Is it supposed to be lightning or thunder? I don't know, but he gets those powers, which are awesome.
Well, technically, thunder is the sound that lightning makes.
Science.
So you have to make the lightning in order to get the thunder?
Yes, because the thunder is the sound of the lightning.
Yeah.
Well, he does it awesomely.
Yes.
This is kind of, I saw somebody point this out, and this is basically the first movie where they really remember that Thor's the god of thunder. Like, they had him doing a moment in Avengers where he's at the top of the tower and he pulls down the lightning, and it was really cool. But they don't really have him relying on his whole god of thunder thing until here. Because and the explanation that they have for it is so good. He's been relying so much on the hammer, and he's been focusing on himself as the hammer. And now that he's been symbolically castrated, he has to, find himself again.
Yeah.
And
what are you, the god of hammers? The god of thunder?
I love, Spirit Mufasa Odin reminding him, come on, god of thunder, what's in your arsenal?
I think I've asked this before, but have they used Thunderstruck in one of these movies yet?
I don't think so.
Because I know there were a couple times in this movie I was like, they should play Thunderstruck right now. And they didn't.
I want to say it was in one of the Iron Man movies, but I don't.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's Iron Man 2. It's on the soundtrack.
Okay, well, that's not where they should have used it.
No, it is not.
Well, they used the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin very well. I mean, it's not the first time they've used it for Thor, obviously, but it's just awesome, especially when he fights on the Bifrost Bridge later on. It's wow. I'm just remembering and playing back that scene in my head. I had to actually play the song a couple of times and just remember the scene as he is just kicking some serious bootay. It is fun to watch. It was fun to watch. I got to go see it again.
I know, I really want to see it again.
Oh, yeah.
But he gets his eye patch, too, which I guess in the comics, he actually gets an eye patch eventually, too. So.
Yes, there's actually a comic that came out. It started running a few years ago. I always blank out on it, but it's like 3 phases of Thor. And it's him as a kid, it's him now, and then it's him in the future where he's the Allfather. And when you see him as the Allfather, he only has one eye.
I can't wait for him to see Fury again.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Scourge for a second, because that was a whole thing. I kind of figured that he was a bad guy, and then he kind of redeemed himself, but I'm not sure if he really redeemed himself. What did you guys think about that?
Before that, I just wanted to bring up that the whole Hela as Odin's lost daughter thing is very reminiscent of a plot that started in Marvel a few years ago with Angela being Odin's lost daughter from another dimension. Angela's a really cool character. She was created by Todd McFarlane and was technically from the Spawn comics, if I remember right. But here, they kind of swapped that over to Hela and turned her evil. Instead of Angela, Asgard's assassin.
We talked about Hela's headdress last time and the CGI as we were talking in the news, but maybe we need to recap that a little bit. that the headdress was just amazing, the way she just threw it on there. And it was not a graphic effect. It was real.
Yeah, well, it was obviously a graphic effect when they, she runs her hands back and then the headdress is there. But when she's wearing the headdress, it's an actual headdress. And that thing looks unwieldy as hell, but...
a stiff breeze would just send her flying.
You could see the evolution of, the big antlers. And then, we have Thor with the helmet with kind of the wing thing going on. And then we have Loki with the prongs, like the gazelle prongs. They are very fond of head decorations in that family.
I just want to point out that this is the time of the year that it's deer season. Just pointing it out.
Yeah, so if she goes wandering in the woods, she needs to wear bright orange.
Okay, back to Scourge.
Yes.
Redeemed, not, yes. I mean, you guys like the character, but I was a little bit...
I think he redeemed himself.
Same here. In the comics, he's much more unequivocally evil.
Mm-hmm.
And here, he's presented as just kind of dumb, got caught up in the moment. Like, the good person gets caught up in the wave of a bad person's plans, henchmen, not all bad, just a weak person kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And another bad person that was actually fun to watch was Surtur, because I don't really think he did anything that was bad except for, like, exploding Asgard. And he killed Hela. He did what he was supposed to do. He was having fun. I mean, Surtur was cool.
So in Norse mythology, Surtur is actually a Jotun. And he's got all this stuff going with him. In the comics, he's a demon. And in the more recent Thor Dies comics, which I'm, of course, blanking out on the name of because I can't remember anything tonight. He's the one who was supposed to kill Thor and bring about, like, another Ragnarok. I think, was it Original Sin? I don't remember. But here, I was really excited when I heard, Thor Ragnarok, and then I see Surtur in the thing. Oh my God. So here, his whole thing is, yes, he's going to bring around Ragnarok and destroy Asgard. And then we find out that it's not a threat, it's his whole purpose, because he's the only one who can kill Hela. So after they evacuate everyone that they can from Asgard, they're able to unleash Surtur, because none of them have the ability to kill Hela, but he does.
And Asgard's not a place. Home is where you hang your shield.
Okay.
Yeah. It's this beautifully Norse mythology kind of poetic thing.
Right. So Odin's the one saying, Asgard is not a place, it's the people. He's also the same one that's saying Hela draws her power from Asgard. Were you kind of waiting for the turn to be like, she's not drawing her power from a place, she's drawing her power from the people?
That would be too twisted for Marvel, I think. Now, if it was the comics, they would totally do that because they're happy to just, do that sort of thing and make everybody a
bit of genocide. It's fine.
Yeah, a little bit of genocide. It's okay. Please don't sound clip that. I do not think that at all.
No.
Genocide is never okay.
I was just thinking, didn't we try that with Sokovia? And it didn't work?
Fire ants. Fire ants deserve to be wiped out.
Fire ants, yes, they do. Oh my gosh, I hate fire ants. Oh, and big spiders too. They can all go.
Spiders are good. Spiders eat the bug pests. Fire ants will eat everything.
So we see the Tesseract again, by the way, which is great. And of course, we need the Tesseract in order to get the Infinity Gauntlet.
We're all agreed that Loki stole that, right?
Oh,
like,
of course he did.
When he walked in. Okay, so when Hela first goes into the treasure vault and Scourge is so impressed, she knocks over the Infinity Gauntlet. Because I remember a bunch of people were like, the Infinity Gauntlet's there, but why does Thanos have it? And here she's like, fake. Almost everything in here is fake. And then she sees the Tesseract and she's like, ooh, that's cool. But then she goes on to...
That's not bad.
Yeah. She goes on to the Eternal Fire, which is what she wanted. To, raise her zombie minions and revive her zombie wolf, which, yay, Fenris. Fenris is a character from Dragon Age. Fenrir is the wolf from Norse mythology. But they're zombies and it's cool. Also, you can kill zombies and nobody will feel bad.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like Nazis. Nobody
I was
cares.
just going to say, it's just like Nazis. Everybody
Well, it used to be that way. And then there was a change in tide. What happened?
Yeah, let's go back
Anyways,
to the
that's not
days
what we're
when
talking
you could
about.
punch Nazis and people wouldn't freak out.
Okay, so Loki has the Tesseract, and then Hulk wants to play with his buddy. He wants to play with his buddy Monster, and Mom and Dad says, no, Hulk, come home. We need
There's
to go.
one thing Hulk has always been allowed to do, and that's punch monsters. And now they're not letting him do that.
Okay, we need to talk about Hulk / Bruce Banner. So Hulk has been here since the end of Age of Ultron. So it's been like 2 years for him, I think. And so he's been allowed to be the Hulk full time, and he's just been thriving here. He's a rock star. I love how they explain that he's more vocal here because now he's kind of at the mentality of a toddler because he's actually been allowed out and able to kind of grow cognitively. And he's learned enough to be self-aware and angry because, well, of course, he's always angry, but he's angry because he thinks people only like him for Bruce Banner. And here, when he's on Sakaar, people like him because of him. And
I really liked his friendship with Valkyrie. That was adorable.
His friendship with Angry Girl.
I feel like I know you.
So then when
Thor playing both of them, no, you're the one I like.
We call you the Stupid Avenger. Nobody calls you the Stupid Avenger.
I like you better. You're all sciencey and maths. It's really good.
But when we get Bruce Banner back, we see just how kind of freaked out and lost he's been because to his mind, he's basically been in a blackout, woke up 2 years later on another planet where he's in the middle of this weird fight and he doesn't know what's going on.
And he has to wear Tony Stark's clothes.
Which is great. The bromance continues.
It's really tight.
The bromance just continues. Okay, don't remind him of the Hulk. Walk into a Hulk parade. That was amazing.
And throw green dust on his face.
Just, I love every choice that they made involving Bruce Banner and the Hulk in this movie.
Okay, but you
the kind of mocking of the Age of Ultron Black Widow Hulk relationship thing, the hey, sun's going down, punch, boom.
But you also have to talk about Bruce Banner's fear in that he completely lost control. There was no hand half on the wheel sort of thing going on. Hulk had full control. Banner had no idea what was going on. And he even stated to Thor, I don't want to do this because I won't come back next time. And Thor's like, okay, but I really could use the big guy. They never really resolve that until they get to the end. And Banner's like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice myself because he literally sacrificed himself and took the big nosedive hundreds of feet down under the Bifrost Bridge.
Splat.
I like how that always never works when he expects it to.
I mean, it worked in the first movie, which actually Mark didn't play the Hulk in the first movie.
No, the Ed Norton one. But it also didn't happen when he thought it would.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It was until afterwards. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We almost got Hulk Dong in this movie.
Thor definitely got...
That's in my mind now.
Yeah. Cowards for not giving us Hulk Dong.
Okay, we could get a video of that too, I suppose.
I mean, I've seen things on the internet, so... I feel like that was probably already on the internet. This didn't create anything new.
That's true. There's a site that I saw that does like off-brand toys.
I've seen those.
Yeah, and they're all like franchise-based, like, you know, lightsabers and, you know, swords and the like. And I'm
Zombie.
pretty sure yeah, there's a Hulk
get
one
all
there,
the
I'm pretty
fun
sure.
toys.
Yep.
But yeah, we get a lot of good Hulk stuff. But you can look at Bruce Banner in this movie as somebody who's coming off as like, you know, a drug bender, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever, and is scared that they're going to relapse. And they have this one friend who's like, yeah, but if you really wanted to save my life, you drink this full bottle of Jack Daniels. I'll be eaten by wolves unless you drink this shot.
I have a story to tell you after the podcast.
he does
had an exciting week.
Hulk did get nice playtime with a monster or the big wolf.
Yeah, Hulk versus Fenrir was a good fight. Hulk versus Surtur, I mean, abortive though it was fun. Hulk just getting to smash is just always great.
So sometime during the fight, Meek, which is, we didn't really talk about Meek. Meek is Korg's like sidekick.
So in the comic, they're together in Planet Hulk.
And we were told before this movie that he was supposed to be openly gay.
Yeah.
If I had not been told that, I would have not known that.
Ditto.
Okay. So Meek and Korg were together.
Yes.
Yes.
And then Meek got cut in half.
These
and
things
then
happen.
Yeah.
Korg,
but he's okay. Meek's alive.
He's alive. I don't know how. I don't know if he grows back or anything like that, but Meek's alive. So yay, Meek's alive.
According to the MCU wiki, I was just looking at, he's in like a robot body to begin with, which I don't think is true. I thought he was just like,
no, I think he had like robot legs.
Okay. So I guess he's just like Darth Vadered, and they just pulled him out of the robot body. I don't know.
Okay.
Just stick him back in a robot body. He'll be fine.
So Asgard is inside this ship from Sakaar, and they decide we're going to go to Earth. Nowhere better to go. Let's go to Earth. So Earth it is. And then in the mid-credit scene, they're not going to Earth.
Well, I think they might be going to Earth, but in this case, it's less of a, hey, can we crash at your place for a while? And more, guys, some stuff's coming your way. And also, can we crash at your place for a while?
I think this
also, if there's about to be like a big, huge showdown, having tons of Asgardians there to help with the fight might not be a terrible thing.
That's true. I mean, even if they're just normal, quote unquote, Asgardians, they're still Asgardians.
Yeah. I feel like Thor is the Wonder Woman of this world because he's bringing the army.
Yeah. Oh, so again, we've talked in the past about how Tessa Thompson was playing Valkyrie as bisexual, like she is in the comics, but a scene of a woman leaving her room was cut, despite how fiercely she argued for it. But she has said that in the flashback scene, that one blonde woman who kind of shields her, she was playing that as her former lover, and that's why she took it so hard. So I was not reading into that scene in the movie. That was how she was playing it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. You know, it's hard to say. So in a scene like that, you don't know if it's a comrade in arms deal or if it's a lover deal. It's really hard to tell in a scene specifically like that, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no dialogue, and that's all you see between them is that one scene, but we had to use context clues.
Yeah.
Because we can't just explicitly state something like that.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid, because then you can't sell it in wider markets like Russia and China.
Marvel.
Whatever, give them a different cut of the film.
Exactly. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, they've done it before.
They do it with China releases all the time anyway.
Yeah, just put some extra robots in their version. They'll be fine.
More Meeks. Okay, at the end, the post-credit scene was really fun because Jeff Goldblum is just trying to talk his way out of getting killed because they're gonna
You can't have a rebellion without someone to rebel against, so good job.
I mean, you're welcome, guys.
He's so good in this movie.
So it's a tie. Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster. All right. So it was a good movie. And do we want to talk about Taiki's 4 roles? Have we talked about that yet?
No, we have not. So Taika Waititi, excuse me, in addition to being the motion capture and voice of Korg, was also one of the heads of a 3-headed alien called Haju. He's the head on the right. He was also motion captioned for Surtur, And he was a stand-in for the Hulk in some pickup scenes after Mark Ruffalo wrapped in production.
Awesome.
Okay.
I mean,
Yes.
very talented, and I'm glad to have him in the Marvel Universe. I'm glad he's in the Marvel Universe, by the way, and not the DC Universe, because, oh my gosh, have you guys seen the Rotten Tomatoes score for Justice League?
Yeah.
Yup.
Oh my god.
Did we talk before about how Taika Waititi wants to do a Black Widow movie?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
So
Yes.
cool on that. It was a really, I mean, I've heard a lot of people saying like this is the best MCU movie ever. I'm not sure about that, but it was fun. It was good. I liked it. There
I
were
need
some
to
bad
see
things with
4
it.
or 5 more times to make that judgment.
Yeah, pretty much. This is definitely up there for me, though. This one was just, I mean, it's so fun. Even with there's some really, like we said, there's some really heavy stuff hiding behind the humor. Like Thor loses an eye. He loses his dad. A lot of the family stuff between Thor and Loki goes kind of deep. The stuff with Valkyrie, we talked, I think, last week about how she's very, very Maori coded because she's portrayed as a fierce warrior who lost a battle, has become an alcoholic. Her ship is the color of the Maori flag. And she's, despite everything, still gets back up and fights. She's been very, very explicitly called the most Maori coded character in the movie. And again, all this stuff, there's some more of the deep stuff there of when Hela knocks down the ceiling in the main Asgard palace, and you have that. At first it's this very kind of Eastern Orthodox portrait-looking thing, like iconography almost, of Odin and Frigga and Thor and Loki. And underneath that, it's the very warlike painting of her and Odin just conquering. I mean, there's some really good stuff in this movie. And it's funny!
It is. It was funny. I was explaining to a couple of people since I've seen it that I saw it the second weekend and the audience reaction wasn't as good as I thought it should be. And I think that was because I was seeing it with a lot of people, perhaps the entire audience that had already seen it before. So there were some snickers, but there were some laugh out loud moments, and it really deserved the laugh out loud moments. I think it was that good of a film. I just didn't get the reaction. I did not see it opening weekend, so. Go figure. And talking about when I went to go see it, I did see it in a nice theater with the reclining chairs. I saw it on a Saturday evening, and I saw some trailers. This is a tradition with Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. We talk about the trailers that we've seen during the show, and I'm just going to go over mine this time. So I saw Pacific Rim 2, which is the first time I've actually watched the trailer all the way through, and it was kind of exciting. I could get why Lauren's really excited about it, but we'll see what happens with that for me. I'm not as excited in general about Pacific Rim as Lauren is. I mean, I think if Lauren could watch Pacific Rim on a continual loop for a couple of years, I think she would enjoy that. So, not gonna.
Yeah, this is true. I also had that one.
And I saw this 12 Strong, the declassified story of the Horse Soldiers with Chris Hemsworth in it, and that looked good. We'll see how it actually pans out. There's a lot of war movies coming out now about the start of the war against the Taliban and that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. Now, The Maze Runner, The Death Cure came out. Now, I have not seen any of the Maze Runner films, but this one looked okay. I don't know. Haley, have you seen the Maze Runner stuff?
Nope.
Lauren, have you seen any of the Maze Runner stuff?
Nope, but I had that trailer too.
Okay. Then I saw Den of Thieves, which was really intense. You guys see that? About bad cops, basically?
Also, no,
I didn't.
Gerard Butler. Okay. And then, of course, the trailer that's seeing a lot of airtime right now is Wonder. And
which one is that?
Oh, yeah, that's the
one about
the little kid. Jacob Tremblay plays a kid with Treacher Collins. I wish they'd gotten an actual kid who had Treacher Collins instead of just putting makeup on a kid. But again, they've been showing the trailer a lot lately.
It's the feel-good movie of the season, it looks like to me.
Yeah, it's a feel-good movie where they, in order to portray somebody with disabilities, they cast somebody without disabilities so that everyone else can feel happy about themselves. Yay!
Then I saw the Last Jedi trailer again. Hard to go wrong with that.
Saw that one.
Hard to go wrong. Really excited about that movie. And then the Black Panther, and this was the first time that I'd seen the Black Panther.
That was so good.
I know. I was like, wow.
I also got the Justice League trailer that's been kicking around for a while.
Yeah, we got that one, like the newer Justice League trailer.
I'm trying to remember if I saw that or not. If I did, I kind of blocked it out, I guess. Maybe I was playing on my phone. That really wasn't all that. I did see it. Okay. I did. All right. I didn't put it on my list, but I did see it. So that was the trailers I saw. So mostly good. And I like watching trailers. So it was like I timed it. It was a half an hour of trailers. I'm like, oh my gosh, half an hour of trailers. It's a long time with trailers. Mm. Okay. Haley, did you happen to have any... late to the movie. What's that, Haley?
I said that's good because I was kind of late to the movie.
Haley, did you happen to have any quotes that we didn't...
No, I wasn't able to take notes. So I've been kind of throwing out quotes as I kind of remembered them.
Oh, okay. So it's not exactly quote, but the big wormhole that they have to go through is called the Devil's Anus.
Oh,
for a long time, you get all these, especially with, very staged Tom Hiddleston, very dignified, keep saying Devil's Anus for like half an hour. And I died every time.
Buttholes, guys. They're always funny.
I made that decision before I knew what it was called. That's pretty cool. All right. So next time we're going to continue our watch into The Defenders, season 1, episode 7, Fish in the Jailhouse. This will be the penultimate episode of The Defenders. And then unfortunately, the next week, 1 week from today is American Thanksgiving. So I will not be podcasting, although Lauren and Haley will be podcasting.
I will not, because I'm out of town.
Yeah, I'm out of town too. So you guys can come to the live podcast. You won't be here.
Indeed.
Y'all are on your own.
So Sunday, we're going to be talking about The Defenders, and then we'll work from there. And we're running really close to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premiere the week after Thanksgiving. So
also, a Punisher premiere is coming up, guys.
Yeah, Punisher is tomorrow as we're recording this on Thursday, the 16th.
I have played this perfectly because I came back from my con with con crud. So tomorrow I'll just text my boss. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling way worse today. Can't come in.
See, I have a friend coming into town this weekend. So this is the first of the Netflix series that I won't be binge watching. I'll just watch it next week.
I'll probably binge watch it as soon as we're done with The Defenders, but I still have to wait until we're done with The Defenders, which will be in 2 weeks.
You could just go ahead and watch the last couple Defenders episodes.
Yeah, okay.
Like, just take the notes as you watch them.
If I had time. I still got to get... okay, we'll talk about this later.
Okay, anyways.
I don't have time. Dang it. All right, so we're going to move on and do some quick news. Here we go.
So we talked already about how Justice League is getting some not so great reviews. Another little show getting some mixed reviews is The Punisher.
Yeah, I've seen a few of these. From what I'm seeing, the consensus seems to be that Jon Bernthal is really good, but the show itself is less so. Some people are saying it has to do with just the fact that right now, like the current time that we're living in might not be the best time, as we're in the middle of just 1.5 billion mass shootings every day, might not be the best time to do a show where the protagonist is a guy who runs around shooting people.
But that's always going to be the case for
that's
a
Punisher
Punisher
the case
series
with the Punisher
in our country.
There's also some people calling it kind of dull. But then there's also some people raving about how it's really grounded and gritty. So really, because the reviews that I've seen are kind of 50-50 mixed, I guess it's one of those, well, what's your taste? I don't know. If you like gritty crime stuff, I mean, give it a shot. If it's maybe not up your alley or you aren't really in the mood to watch somebody shooting people up right now, maybe give it a pass or wait for us to talk about it, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even his stuff in season 2 of Daredevil was a little gruesome for me. So that's probably going to be a good barometer to go by, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so. I am really looking forward to the Frank and Karen scenes, though, because I ship them. I ship them hard.
Me too. I think it's hilarious that she thinks Daredevil, Matt Murdock, is too extreme, but she's all up for the Punisher. So that's our thoughts on Punisher that we haven't seen yet. So something that everyone is excited about is Deadpool 2's brand new teaser trailer.
Have you guys watched this yet?
No, I didn't even know.
I'm going to watch it right now.
I didn't even know there was one out.
Oh, no, it's 2 minutes long.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes long, and it's amazing. It starts off with this Bob Ross parody that's just wonderful. It goes into the teaser, which we get some glimpses of some familiar faces, very brief glimpses at a new one and a hand that we're all looking forward to. And even the end credits of the trailer are pretty great. So, yes, it's so good. Daredevil dressed as Bob Ross is amazing. Ryan Reynolds as Daredevil is amazing, and I can't wait for this movie. All right. There's a language warning.
No.
Daredevil. I mean, Daredevil.
Deadpool.
So
some more upcoming Marvel properties, Fox ones at least, is maybe a multiple man spinoff starring the one, the only James Franco.
Okay, so I saw this a little while ago, and my first thought was, what? But then I started thinking, and if they were going to do something along the lines of X Factor, the Peter David comic, and especially the more recent one from the kind of mid-2000s, where he's a detective, I would watch that. I was a huge fan of that X Factor run.
I know he's been in a lot of stuff, but coincidentally, Monday in the gym, they had Flyboys on as I was in the elliptical room. So that was kind of funny. It's like, oh, there's James Franco.
The one that I'm really waiting for is The Disaster Artist, because The Room is a terrible movie, and I loved the book about the making of it, which is called The Disaster Artist. So seeing James Franco as Tommy Wiseau looks to be really interesting.
He has 145 acting credits.
He's like Nicolas Cage. He just doesn't turn anything down.
He's only been acting for 20 years. Oh my gosh.
How many of his own shows, movies, whatever, has he crapped on, though, before they hit theaters?
Like a lot. But this would not be the first time we've seen multiple men on screen. He was in X3, the movie we do
played by the McSteamy from Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
He's got 12 products in post-production, completed, or filming. Wow.
Busy dude.
The last bit of news is Disney is shutting down Marvel Heroes.
Have either of y'all played Marvel Heroes?
No.
Okay. I played it kind of on and off for a while there. The article on Kotaku describes it as kind of like Marvel Diablo. Yeah, kind of. It's one of those, you go through a level and you shoot a lot of things and you get loot and you play all these different characters that you collect. Like I had, who did I have? I had Squirrel Girl. You start off with like your choice of like Hawkeye or Black Widow. And you could get costumes and stuff like that. Well, earlier this month, their developer, Gazillion, missed a bunch of its community updates. There was no Halloween event, no Thor Ragnarok tie-in content that was expected. And yesterday, they announced that they're going to shut down. Today, in a tweet, Marvel Heroes team announced that the game servers would shut down after December 31st. And that they are now removing the ability for players to buy things in-game. So that's sad. It was, I mean, I didn't play it often, but I had fun when I did. It was just one of those, sometimes I feel like playing this. I'll load it up, patch it, see how it goes. I think I had Rocket, now that I think about it. I think I had Rocket.
Rocket's fun. All right, that is it for the news this week. We're going to move on to some feedback.
Okay, we have a lot of feedback this week from Twitter. At Mr. Paraclete said, "That's a hella good job," HELA, and linked us to an article from The Nerdist. "Flying Thor's hammer drone tests your worthiness to wield it." This video is amazing. YouTuber and engineer Alan Pan designed and built the Thor's hammer drone so that he could fly it and it would come back to him. And he's wearing a Thor t-shirt. And it's a cute video. It's really fun. And yes, that is a hella good job.
Oh.
Aw.
I resisted the urge to make that joke this whole podcast.
Only to have somebody snipe it from you. Andy Migna retweeted Clark Gregg at us and said, "Seems with all her hacker knowledge, she also lost her math." Clark Gregg said, hold on, let me see what Clark Gregg said.
I have to talk to you about fractions.
I have to talk to you about fractions. Because Chloe Bennett, in response to a picture of Chloe Bennett, this very cute picture of her, says, "Impromptu photo shoot between scenes. Half Daisy, half Mikey Mark, half Chloe." Which is like 1.5 right there. So
it's fractions. It's modern math. What do they call that? Modern. It's something like modern.
Common Core.
Okay.
Hey, I haven't taken math in years. From Facebook, we have a comment from James Wooten. "I've been listening to y'all since day one, and I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again on Netflix, and the Inhumans, and when they go through the Terrigenesis, it changes their DNA, so that the only ones who could inbreed are the ones who do not change. You guys are amazing."
Thank you very much, James.
Thank you.
And
that's a good point.
Yeah.
It does change, it does alter their DNA some. I assume that it alters a specific coding of DNA, like on a specific chromosome.
Right. It's like the Inhuman gene markers, and those are what Maximus lost.
Yeah.
Would be the ones that they would change.
The Inhuman gene gray markers?
But yeah, the equivalent of like a SNP or something. And so the other genes, because you have 23 chromosomes, all the other genes on your chromosomes that weren't those markers would still not be affected, I think. So you could still inbreed with those, but they would have a very wide and interesting selection of inhuman powers. So again, this is how you get weird, like, okay, you know how we've really, really messed up purebred dogs and cats?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like that. They were trying to breed for like teacup chihuahuas and Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, and they ended up with the Inhumans whose brains outgrew their skulls, like Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. That's kind of what I'm figuring. People, it's really infuriating what we've done to purebred dogs.
I don't remember whose comic it is, but it's like a picture of one of the horrible dogs we've created, and it's like, you used to be a wolf.
It was probably like the oatmeal or something.
Sounds about right.
But yes, we also have a comment from YouTube. Nariantics2 said, in response to our most recent Inhumans, I think the finale of Inhumans episode, "Frustration overall is my reaction to the series, but I'm a little spoiled from reading the comics. But as always, LOS made it bearable. See y'all when S.H.I.E.L.D. returns. Peace." Peace back. Thank you for making it through the journey with us.
I finally today finished watching Inhumans.
I'm sorry.
And the finale lived up to my expectations that the series had set to this point.
How drunk were you when you finished it?
I was at work, so not at all, which is entirely too sober to be. So I did keep hoping that Black Bolt would die and Medusa and Louise could just run off together, but whatever.
See? Not just me.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Yep. All right. So now that we've completely completed the circle there between the end of last episode and this episode, it is time to Rainbow Bridge this one out. We hope you've enjoyed our one-shot discussion of Thor Ragnarok. We're really looking forward to Black Panther in just a few months, so stay with us for that. I'm sure Haley would put it on the schedule relatively close to when it comes out. So thank you very much for downloading this podcast. Thank you for watching it on YouTube, and thank you for commenting and giving us all the great feedback. We are doing this because you guys are having fun watching us do Marvel.
Thank you so much for sticking with us through Inhumans. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for hanging out during live tweets. I'll be doing it again once Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starts up. And just thank you all so much for listening. We love you guys.
Yes, thank you, beloved listeners. We have a lot of people that were watching live today. We really appreciate that, getting to chat with you. Even if we don't reply in the chat, we're reading it as it comes along. So we enjoy getting that feedback, and we've had feedback on all of our platforms lately, and we really enjoy hearing from you guys any way that you can to get in touch with us.
Indeed, and with that, until Sunday, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Lauren.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2017.